Like yesterday we learned map, right? So how much I need acknowledgement, guys. Like I want someone to speak. Why you guys are not speaking? It should be interactive, right? It's not like I'm telling you are listening. It should be interactive. If only 9 people, like 8, remove me. Like at least 7 people are there. At least one person also cannot speak.
Ram, actually, I'm in a hostel, but
Yeah, no
outside is some
issues.
noise.
Yeah, no issues. Even
Outside
if
some
you
noise.
see, even
Yeah,
if
that's
you
why I'm
have,
not on unmute, Ram.
I understood. I'm not talking about you, Naresh. Like other
Okay.
people, um, like we have very less members today. There is no like Santosh is not there. Triveni is not there. Okay, Chaitanya is not there. So a lot of people are not joining, and also, um, like if even though if you have response, that's okay. Like if you have noise your side, that's okay. But I'm not understanding like whether you all are listening or something like that. If you can't, you can also type in the chat. Okay. Okay. So I'll continue. Okay. So we have this conditional rendering, right? So first, what is conditional rendering? So we render something based on a condition. Okay. Um, like I'll show that here. Let's take one div, and here, um, I'll take one example and show it to you. Okay, conditional rendering. So instead of I don't need this count. Okay, mm, npm run. I'm starting this. So so let's take that on off example. Already we discussed, right? So let's take one example, right? Like uh, is on, like is toggle. Okay, like let's take this example, like is toggle comma set is toggle. You all know how to write state, right? Use state. So use state, again telling you, use state is a hook, or it is also a function. We call it by passing initial value to it. Let's take a false now. Okay, this is a flag, false. So use state is a hook. We call that function, that hook, and we pass initial value to it, and it returns us two things: the current state and the setter function. Okay, we'll destructure that array destructuring and object destructuring. I will tell you now. You understood, right? This is called, um, like calling the use state hook, so that you will get a state variable is toggle. And what is state? Anything that is changing, any variable that if that is changing, then that is a state. Okay, so here is toggle is a current state. Like what is its current state? False, because initial value is false. Currently it will be false. And set is toggle is a setter function. Okay, so this is a setter function. So now I will use this, and based on this value, I'll show that button. Okay, so let's take one button, and let's display if is toggle is true. Okay, if is toggle is true, then what I will show? I will show on. Okay, else I'll show off, and I'll close this curly bracket. Okay, why I'm writing this curly bracket here? Because I want to write some JavaScript. Okay, this is called ternary operator. Okay, if you have question mark and colon, this is called ternary operator. I'm telling you the JavaScript. Until this point of time, we are not into the React. We are just learning JavaScript. Like this is called ternary operator. So ternary operator means you will have a question mark and you will have a colon. Okay. So this is same like if else only. If else statements. If and else, like this. If else statements only. So how this is if else? So inside if what you will write? You write a condition, right? Like is toggle is equal to true, something like that. You will write like this, right? Is toggle. Okay. Hmm. So here, like just a minute. So you will write like this, right? Is toggle is equal to true. And based on this condition, you execute some code here. You will execute some code here. And based on set is toggle, like based on else case, if is toggle is false, then you will execute some other code. Okay, here you will execute some other code if this is false. So only if true, what happens? This will execute, this block will execute. If it is false, this block will execute. Okay, so in JavaScript, of like you need not to write that explicitly is equal to true. You can remove this. So is toggle, it will automatically add this is equal to true. But if you want to check is equal to false, you should not remove this. Okay, if you remove it, then it will check for true only. If you're not providing anything, that is equal to compare, that equality comparison operator, if you not provide anything, then in JavaScript, it will take as a true only. Is toggle is equal to true only, it will check here. Okay, that is in ES6 we got. Previously, we don't have that. So now, so same kind of way, how you are executing, if the condition is true, you are executing some code. If it is false, you are executing some code, right? So in the similar fashion, you write one condition here, is toggle. If this is true, you execute some code here and you add a colon. If it is false, you execute some other code here. You understood how it is working? Same, like this is a condition, and if that is true, you execute some code. And if it is false, you execute after the colon. Before the colon, if it is true, if this condition is true, before the colon will be executed. If this condition is false, after this colon, okay, it will execute. There is a difference between colon and semicolon. Colon means two dots and semicolon means dot and a comma, this one. So you write a colon here, not semicolon. Okay, same like here, what I am doing, I'm checking is toggle to true. If it is true, I'll execute this, I will return this string on inside this button. If it is false, I'll return this off inside this button. This is a string. So what you will write in the inside a button, you'll write a string only, no, here. Like you write like this on, or else you write off. But now what you will do, instead of writing statically like this on and off, what you will do, you will write a ternary, you will use a ternary operator and conditionally render that text inside this button. So this is called conditional rendering. So based on this toggle value, this will conditionally render. Like now I'm writing on and off, right? So what will be the output now? Can someone tell how this button looks like now? Someone tell.
Sir, you are using ternary operator. It is if else statement like.
What will be the output? What will be the output in the UI, in the website? On
Sir,
or off?
on.
On. Why on?
It is off.
If it is
Who told off? Who said off?
Yes, sir. I'm Sushmita.
Yeah. Okay. Bhagwan, see,
yes,
what is
sir.
the initial value we are providing for this? False. Okay.
Oh, yes, sir.
So
Okay, sir. Okay,
here
sir. Okay, sir.
is toggle. If is toggle is true, then you will get on.
Then you on.
But is toggle is false. No,
False.
what
Then you
initial value
get
is false. No?
off. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Off. Yeah. So I'll run this here. Okay. Able to see? No. What is the issue? Console. See. App.js use state is not defined. Okay, this use state is not defined. So I'll import that use state from React. Okay. Use state from React. So how many of you know why we write this curly brackets here? See, sometimes we write curly brackets, sometimes we don't write curly bracket. Have you observed? Like if for example, I'm deviating you, but I will show this output and I will tell you why we write curly brackets here. Anyone know why we are writing curly brackets there while we import the use state?
I think it will be understand uh, the text within curly brackets.
Sorry. Sorry. What
In
was that?
React, it is understanding within the curly braces.
No, that's not correct. Okay, I'll tell you, but before that, I will show the output to you. Okay. Now the errors are gone. So what is the state of the button? Off, right? Why? Because initially we are providing this false. Uh, just a minute. Okay. So here we are providing false, right? So that's why it is off, because even though you do not provide that condition here, it will by default checks for true only, because that is latest ES6 JavaScript. So you need not to provide explicitly, you need not to provide the true value here. Okay. So I'm removing that. So is toggle is equal to true. Is toggle is equal to true. And if it is true, you will it on. Okay. You will get on. If it is false, you will get off. For example, if I change this value true, Okay, so then
On.
you will get on. Okay, so if it is, so you can directly change the, okay, like, will you be able to change the state directly like this in initial value? You are just changing the initial value through the code. Manually you are changing this, right? But how to change with this value? By using the setter function. Set is toggle, right? So now when I click this button, I'll write this on click. Okay, on click listener. So here I will use one arrow function syntax and call that set is toggle and pass false. So initially what value is there? True. But when I click button, I'm passing false. Okay. So here initially the value is true. That's why it is on. When I click, it is off. Okay. Mm, just a minute. Okay. So this is off, right? But when I click again, it is not turning on. Why? Because whenever you click, you're adding, you're setting it as a false only. Okay. Just one minute. Okay. So you understood, right? Like whenever you click here, whenever you click, right, I'll show the state to you. See here, we have the state, right? Let me refresh actually. Okay. So here, this is true. Initially, this is toggle is true. Whenever I click it, I'm setting that to false. Okay, it is changing to false. Again, next click, when I click right, it is not changing to true, because every click I'm uh, giving the false only. I'm setting it as a false only. First it will be true, then when I click false, and whenever I click it will set to the false only. But I don't want like this, no? So I want not of is toggle. What is not of is toggle? So is toggle will hold the current state value. Okay, currently what is the value? True. What does this do? Not of true means false. Not true means what? False only. No, if it is not true, it is false. If it is true, it is true. Like if it is not false, then true, right? So here is toggle value based on, if here it is true, then is toggle will, here it will set false. Here it is false, then this will be true. Okay, the complete opposite of the current state. So in this way you can conditionally render something, you can display the UI. So when this will be helpful, when you have something like tabs or accordion. Okay, so like let's take one example. Accordion is there. What is this accordion component? Okay, okay, you have this accordion, right? So when I click this button, I want to show something, or I want to hide this. So when I click, I want to hide. When I click again, I want to show this. So in these cases, accordion will be help, like we can like, so when I click this arrow, this will reveal this, right? And when I turn off, this will close. So how it is closing, how it is opening, based on the true or false value of this button. So when I click show accordion, um, when I do not click, hide the accordion. Like based on true and false you will do. Okay, here also in these scenarios, real world, you will get this. This is useful. And sometimes you want, if based on role based places also. For example, you wanted to show upload button to only admin users, so you will hide that button based on the condition. If if user like you don't show the button, if it is admin you show this button. So in that manner, based on the condition, you will render. That is called conditional rendering. Okay, now you see, if I do the change on, it will on and off, on and off, on and off. Every time the state will change. Now it is false, right? So not, when I click not of false, not of current state is what? False. Not of false, true. So it becomes true, then on. Okay, every time that state will change. Okay, so how many of you understood this? How many don't understand? At least how many of you don't understand? Raise your hands. DP, you don't understand?
Yes, Ram.
Okay, what you did not understand? DP, which area you don't understand? Like where you don't understand? I wrote only 2 lines of code. This is 1 line and this is 1 line. Nothing special. This
Yes,
is a
in
component.
11th line only, I got confused.
Okay, 11th line. Okay, so I'll. Okay, where 11th line means complete line. See,
No, no.
this is a button, right? Yes, yes. Tell me.
After
What is the?
on-click event,
Mm,
set is toggle inside another is toggle.
mm. So set is toggle. So for example, first what is the value here? See, first I'm writing here the state. Okay, I'm writing here the state. Okay. So set is toggle is a setter function of the state. So first I'm writing here in the steps manner. Okay. First, this is toggle value, how it will be? Is toggle. Is toggle means is toggle on, like you treat it as a question mark.
Yes,
Is
yes.
toggle. Okay. So here, what is the first value for is toggle? What will be the value?
On,
Huh?
on or
False.
off.
True.
True, true, true.
Okay. Here we are assigning initial value. No, this is nothing but initial value, guys. Okay.
Okay.
Initial value. Okay, you can also write like this. Let initial value is equal to true. You can write like this. So why, see, you take one variable and added this boolean value true and using this initial value here. Why? That is another step, right? That's why we directly write here. Okay, removing that. So this initial value is true, right? So now next, what happens when I click this button? Okay, forget about the inner thing. Okay, inner this one, forget. When I click this button, what happens? This set is toggle function gets executed. Okay, what it does, it takes the new state. Okay, so new state means not of is toggle. What is not of is toggle? So current value, what is is toggle value?
On, true, true.
True. No,
Yes,
here it is
yes.
true. I'm not able to click. Okay, what is the current value? This is a current value. When I write arrow, it is a current value. Okay, so what is the current value?
True.
True. So not so this is current value. So replace this with true, because current
Yes,
value is true. No, so
yes.
is toggle is true. Not of true, what?
False.
False. True కాదు అంటే false అన్నట్టే కదా. So
Yes.
when it is false, so we are setting this is nothing but not of is toggle means not of
False.
true. Not of true means false. So now you are sending false here instead of not of is toggle, you're sending false. Okay. So
Okay, okay.
now what is the current value of the is toggle? Because you are setting false, right? So this will be false. The current value, this will be false. Not understood?
Yes, understood. I got it.
Hmm. So set is toggle, and see, whenever you write a setter function, you identify the difference. If it is having the prefix with set, it is a function, setter function. Okay. What this function does, it's having only single responsibility. Whatever you give in the argument, it will assign that value to this is toggle variable. That's it. If you pass false, it will assign is toggle to false. So that's why here you got is toggle false. So on and so forth. Like if you pass true, it will assign is toggle will be true. Whatever you pass, that will be assigned to is toggle. And this line you understood, right? On click, what happens when I click
Yes,
set is
Ram.
toggle, and I will send the value. And what this does, based on the value, based on the value of this is toggle, if it is true, I will show this. If it is false, I will show this. This is about displaying things. This is about changing the state. How we are changing this is toggle value? By using this setter function, we are changing here. And based on that changed state, we are displaying on and off. That's it.
Yes, it's clear.
Try to practice. Okay. Try to
Okay.
practice this syntax. You will easily understand what is happening. You'll make mistakes and you will learn from that. Okay. Now, who else is having doubt in this conditional rendering? Okay, yesterday someone asked difference between let var and const. Who is that? DP or Chaitanya?
Yes, it's me only.
Chaitanya, not John. Okay, DP. Mm, okay, so why I'm not using var? See, every time when I give you example, either I am taking let or const, right? I'm not using var. Why I'm not using var? Anyone gave like anyone observed that? From starting onwards, all the classes, I never used var keyword. Do you know that? See, previously we have only var keyword to declare variables. JavaScript is not a statically typed programming language. It's not a static language like Java. How you'll write Java? Int x is equal to 10, right? Like this you will write, right? You give the type also. Here the value is 10, but you give the type also. But here you will not give the type. So how many types are there in JavaScript? There is no separate types like integers and floats, doubles. There are no like that. Directly have numbers. That's it. Number is a type. Okay, numbers, booleans. Okay, strings. These are some of the basic types you have to remember. Numbers, boolean, strings, array or object, whatever it may be, extensions. So these are not required. Just as of now, you assume like this. Numbers, strings, and booleans. There is no separate things like character and integer, floating value, doubles. No, nothing like that. You just have like this: numbers, boolean, strings. You have many others like array, object, and other things. I don't want to go into details, but you have this, right? Number, strings, boolean types. But are you trying to give the number x is equal to 10, something like this? No, we will not give. How this type, these are data types. Okay, data types. How these types will work? Infer. So based on the value, the type will get automatically gets assigned. If I use var, okay, so here you see x number, right? How it is taking number? Because based on the value, the type is getting inferred. Okay, you will not like, let's take now like 5 or let's assign ABC. First in the year 15th line, what I assigned? Number, right? So what is the what is the type? Number. Here you see number, but here, okay, this is also a number. It should be a string, no? Okay, I'm not sure with where. Let the type number only. Yeah. Okay, I'll check this and I'll let you know, but I am also not sure. But you can assign a string also, okay, in the runtime. Like you assign like this, x is equal to 10, and you can also assign other things, okay, like this, or ABC. Maybe this is not updating, or I'm not sure about the IntelliSense of VS Code. But you can write like this, you will not get any error. Okay, you can change the value. Okay, so previously we have this keyword var to declare variables, var x is equal to 10. Okay, so now after ES6, okay, lot of people are getting confused with this var, how it is working, where it is accessible. I am not sure. Okay, so that's why they introduced new keywords let and var, let and const. New keywords let and const. These are var is function scope. Okay, you have to understand what is a scope, then only you will understand function scope. So let's take like, I'll explain that, but try to understand that we have like scopes and everything I'll tell you, but now try to understand. We use const, like let's say const x is equal to 20. Okay, so this is a constant. Again, you cannot assign like this. Okay, you cannot assign, it's not giving error for you, but it will throw error. I don't know what is happening. You see here, this assignment will throw because x is constant. If you have fixed value, you cannot reassign this value. Like first you declare x is equal to 20, then x will be 20 only. Previously you do not have constant. If something is not changing, okay, what will not change? Like const pi is equal to 3.14, something, some number will be there, right? So this will be a constant. So at this point of time, you can use constant. And like so if you do something like this and change the pi value to 4 or 5, what happens? It will throw the error, because you cannot reassign. This is called reassignment. You cannot reassign const. But if you make it let, okay, let, you can change that. Let means change, you can change. And both are block scope. Okay, function scope means var keyword. Var is function scope, and let and const are block scope. Okay, I'll tell you tomorrow what is scope. Don't take too much into head, but as of now, mostly use const and let only, guys. Don't use var keyword. um because so when you create a block, right, like if like let's take a function. Okay, function, some function like this I took. So if I write let here x is equal to 20, and you cannot access that outside. Okay, x is equal to like console.log x, this will give you the error. You see, this is still grayed out. It's not, we are not using, but we are using here, no, 21st line. See, when you declare this let, it is block scope. Okay, you cannot access it outside of this block. Okay, currently I wrote function, but this can also be a if statement. Okay, if statement like this, if condition and a block. So here also you cannot use. But if you use var is not a block scope, it is a function scope. Okay, so then you can use it, here. Vars, you can use it here. Okay, the more usage, it will be confusing what this var is changing. Okay, based on a lot of confusion is there related to the scoping and everything. So that's why we have this block scope variables called let and const. Okay, so you can ask me like let's take an example like const numbers. Okay, numbers is equal to array 1 2 comma 3 comma 4 something. Okay, we have these numbers and I can change these numbers dot push. I'm pushing some number, like let's take I push 5 to that. So this will work or not work? Can someone tell this will work or not work? When I push, will the array change like this 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5?
Yes.
Array will change, but I'm using constant, right? Constant means we cannot change. How I am changing this? Constant in the sense we cannot change, right? But here when I push, it will work. Why? Because you are not changing the reference of this object. What is array? Array is object, right? Array is a object. So you're just changing the value inside that object, but not the entire object. You are not changing. So it will give error if you change like this. If you reassign like this, numbers is equal to 20 comma 30 comma something. If you give like this, then you will get error if you reassign, because here you're taking a new object reference. Okay, so this is one thing. So mostly use constants and let, but don't use var. Only very less cases you will use var, and I will tell you why while we are using. I'll also take one more class on that, so that on that day I'll explain you var. Very negligible usage we will do with var, but mostly directly use const. Mostly I use const. Very if some value is changing, we can also use let. No issues. Okay. I think DP you understood half of, not completely, but have you understood?
Yes, Ra.
Okay. About scoping, I will tell you. You will not understand if I tell now what is a scope. Okay. But find the difference that previously we used var, but now we are using let and const. That's
Okay.
more 15 minutes, guys. Where we stop, anyone having, see why we are writing this one, right? The curly brackets here. See, let's say, you have, let's say you have a component. Okay, here let's say you have a component here. I'll tell you simple example. Okay, card.jsx. Okay, card.jsx, and here I wrote sorry, so I wrote one component here, react component, and I exported here, right? See, this word default in the sense, this file is by default we are exporting this card. So directly we are exporting this. Okay, default export. When you have default export, you need not to write this curly brackets. If you want to import this card, okay, this card component, so you are exporting here, right? You created a card component and you're exporting. So if you export, just a minute, guys. Okay. Okay. So this card is there, right? This card component. If here we are exporting default, right? So how you will import? You need not to provide for default exports. You need not to provide curly brackets like this card from dot slash card like this. So this will not work. Okay. Card like this. So are you getting card? It is giving us error, right? Exported named card. We are already exporting, but why it is not coming here? See, if you have default export, you need not to uh, provide this curly brackets. You can directly write card like this. But let's take you have one more component here. Okay, const user profile. Okay, this is also or else a header component. Let's take. Okay, you have one header, and I'm writing this. Okay, this returns JSX. Okay, you can write a function component by using arrow function syntax also. Like this, I'm writing, and inside this div, okay, this is a div. So now I will export that, but not default. Okay, that component export header. This is not a default export. Okay, if you have default keyword, see you have, do you have default keyword? Let's take you have a footer also. Okay, control Z. You have one more component called footer also. So you have multiple, you're writing multiple components, but mostly we will not write like this, but I am telling you what the difference. Okay, so if you have some functions, not only the components, you want some functions to be default export and something to be direct normal export. So when you export, these are called named exports. Okay, named exports, not default exports. Please remember this word, named exports. So if you have named exports, then you have to write like this. So it is all are coming from the card only. Okay, header, footer, like this. So you write curly brackets and you write. If you don't want to use card here, okay, only you want to use header and footer, you remove this card here. So default exports, you have to default exports here, default exports, you have to directly write here. But if you have named exports, you have to use curly brackets. And in the same fashion, you will write like this. Okay, you will import React. Okay, React from React. You are not writing curly bracket here, right? Why you are not writing curly bracket? Because this React is a default export. But use state, use effect, all these hooks are named exports. So that's why you use curly brackets. Now you got anyone having doubts? Hello? No doubts? Understood? When we want, when we
Yes,
have
sir.
to give curly bracket and when we don't want to give curly bracket. Okay. I'll show one thing. Let me show this. This is a code from different app, but I'll show it to you. Sorry. Mm, Okay. So here they're exporting these functions, right? Are they using default here keyword? They're directly exporting here, right? All this. You see this code. This is a lot of code, but don't see what is internal of that code. Just see, just we are exporting here. Export. We are not using default, right? Check location permission, get current location. All these are named exports. You're not using default here. So if that is named export, see, get current location, where they are calling all this get current location, not there. Any other things they are using? Let me show you. Convert ist to utc, this function. Okay, this is also a named export. They are not using this anymore. Okay, I wanted something that they are using outside. I think they are not using anything. Check location permission. No. Okay, let us see another file. So mostly, if you wanted to use this function, right, in another file, right? Like let's take this example, like this check location permission. If I want to use in some other file, like if I want to use that here, okay, what I will do, I have to write like this. Okay, from dot slash, I'll go to source. Where is that assets or where? Source. Oh, sorry. I only added that file, right? Not the entire project. Okay. So, but how you will import this? I'll tell you. Like you import like this. Import and use this. You have to use curly bracket from that file. Dot slash a common util function. You will not. You will get error here, but that's fine. So you understood, if some functions are not using default, then you have to use a curly bracket. That is a difference. Okay. And any other things? Uh, okay. All of you understood that curly bracket syntax? Boring, class? Is it boring to you all?
No, Ram. It's fine.
Okay. Okay, so I told you conditional rendering, right? I told you. And see, again, I will tell small things, okay, like this. See, you cannot write two divs in JSX like this. You will get error. Why? Because there should be, for any JSX, there should be a single parent. So what these are two childrens, okay? You cannot have directly two childrens inside the JSX. You have to have one single parent like this. You have to have. Any JSX should hold one parent, and inside that parent, how many children you want, you can write. But at least one parent only should be there. That is a rule of JSX. Okay. So you can write a div. Instead of empty tags, you can write div like this. You can write a closing div here. I'll tell you why we write that empty tags. I will tell you. But now you understood, right? At least one parent, one single parent should be there for any JSX that you write. Okay. That is one rule. And whenever you write something, JavaScript, you have to use like this, curly brackets. Okay. So I'll tell slowly, I'll tell like all the rules of JSX. So you have something called fragment, okay, in React, something called fragment. So you directly, instead of divs, you can write that fragment. Okay, it's not clicking. Okay, fragment, fragment. Okay. So for example, you have a list. Okay. See, you want, always you use a div, right? But now what is the difference between this and this? Use a fragment. Fragment will not create a div on the in the DOM. Okay. So I'll tell you, like you write a fragment here instead of div. Let's take a fragment. This is a card component. Okay, I'm removing this header and footer, just a card component, and I will add this fragment, and I'll directly write a p tag. Okay, inside this I'll write p. This is a card component. Okay, so now I will use this card component in other file, like main file or app file. Okay, this card. So here this is default export, right? So you can directly write card instead of curly bracket. You directly write card, import card from card. This is the file, the class name or function name. This is the file name. So here you directly write a card. Okay, after the button, I'm writing that card component like this. So now what happens? You check the elements. Go to div. You have this div, right? This div got created. Where is this div coming from? The div is coming from here, this 13th line. Okay, 13th line div. And when I open, you get this div. Okay, this is 13th line, whatever the div that we wrote. And inside you see button, and after button you don't have div, right? Directly p is there. You understood? We don't want the divs, all divs, because DOM is overloaded with the divs, right? For example, you are rendering some list, okay, list li tags. At that point of time, what you will do? You take a div, you wrap li or ol, right? You will have unordered ordered list, and inside ordered list you write li tags, right? This tags you write like this. You write. So li tags you write. So now this, you don't want this div. Why? There is unnecessarily loading this div, right? So instead of loading that, you can use a fragment. Fragment here. You can use fragment from React. So that div will not get loaded. You understood? In the DOM, you will not see a div if you use a fragment. Even though it acts as a parent, you will not see the div. Okay. So this is one thing. And like we got this empty tags also. Same works, the same functionality as fragments only. Got it? Okay. Any doubts here? You understood why we are using fragments and everything? The empty things. Any doubts?
No, Ram.
Okay. Um. Okay. Okay. What we discussed? Uh, like I told you the map also, right? Already. So learning list is not that hard. Okay. I'll just quickly tell you the list and we'll wrap up this call if you do not have any. So we already learned how to map, right? How to map. So for not to have confusion, I'm directly writing a div here. Actually, click is not working. This is Windows. So I'm removing everything. I'll directly show you the the rendering of a list. Okay. I don't want anything here. So I'll take one. So you every time you write some logic here, okay, the business logic inside this function here, this empty space, you will write the logic, and here you will write the UI. Okay. So here, let's take one example. Like let's say I have so every time we are going with fruit example, right? Fruits. Let's go with some other example. Okay, mobiles. Okay, we have mobile brands, right? Like iPhone, okay, Samsung, like this, and some other Vivo, Oppo, something. Okay, I don't want to go into all that, but we have this mobiles array. Okay, so map function we learned. What does that map function will do? It takes an arrow function, right? Takes an arrow function and returns the transformed value, and it iterates through each element um, of the calling array. Okay, so I'll tell you like what does that map do. So first what we will do, in order to write that JavaScript code, we have to use curly brackets, right? Curly brackets. To write JavaScript inside the JSX, you have to use curly brackets. Now you take this array, this we call it as calling array. Okay, array dot map. So when I press dot, you will get all the functions, array functions, array methods. So in this, you will see this map. Okay. So map will take a arrow function as an argument. Okay. Like this. You take a arrow function. And so every time, so here you write mobiles, right? Plural, right? Here you write singular. Every time you take one mobile, it iterates through one mobile, each mobile. iPhone, Samsung, Vivo. Okay. Here, what you return a p tag. Okay. You return a p tag, and inside this p tag, you're returning some JSX. Okay. Here, what you are doing, instead of returning number, boolean, you are returning another JSX. Okay. You can also assign a JSX to a variable, guys. Okay. Let's take this something like this. Element is equal to h1 hello world. What is this crazy syntax? Line number 14. Have you ever seen this? We can assign something like this. Const x is equal to 10 or 20. What is this? This is number. You can assign number, string, boolean to a variable. But you see this line number 14? We are crazy, right? We are assigning JSX to a variable. You can also use that. You can directly use that. This variable inside this. Understood? So here also we are returning JSX. Okay. Here we are returning JSX. So here again inside that JSX, if you want to write some JavaScript, again you have to take curly brackets, no? Because this mobile is a JavaScript variable. Okay. So mobile. If you write like this and inspect or see this, you see how you are rendering the list. If you do not write map, how you will write? See, now this is map, right? But if you don't have map, how you will write? You write para iPhone, right? You write another para and Samsung. You take another para and Vivo. What if you have 100 mobiles? You write 100 p taxa? No, right? You have to loop through that data. If you have the 100 mobile data, then you loop through that by using map and return each time what the UI should look like. Each time iPhone is picked and it returns a paragraph. Samsung is picked and it returns a paragraph every time. Okay, and entirely all these paragraphs are written here because map function. I told you, don't forget, like map end after end of the day, map will return array of elements of transform values. So what this returns? Array of paragraphs, not single paragraph. Okay, every time it returns one paragraph. So that's why in the UI you will see 3 paragraphs with different values in it. Where is this value coming from? From the array data. This is map. And please remember, you provide index key as an index equal to index, something like this. Okay, mostly you will have for something like users. Okay, let's take this example, array of objects, and we have id 1 and user name ram, something like this, and uh, you have another user also. Okay, id 2, username is dp, something like that. Okay, so we have 2 users here. So how you will map? Okay, let's take one div and let's map that users dot map, and you take each time in the inside this arrow function, each time what you will do? Okay, why this is giving error? Okay, I'm not writing this in a in a curly bracket. Okay, that's why, because this is JavaScript, I have to write in curly brackets. So here use every time I take one user, right? Every time I take one user and I return uh, that user dot id or user dot username. Okay, every time you take a user, and how can I can get into this object user dot username? Okay, so like this you return every time. This returns a user. Okay, but you see here you are getting like this first 3 are mobiles and next 3 are users, right? So here next 2, and here you see this key prop error. Each child should have a key prop. Here I'm providing a key prop. Why this key? It's not required for us. It is for the React to understand each element. If you are removing some item, if you are adding item, if you are replacing item, React will use this key to perform operations in an optimized way. That's why we will give this key. Don't forget to give the key because you will get the errors. So you can also give key here like this. You need not to use index every time. Here you getting ID, right? Some unique value you have to provide to this key. That's it. So you take user.id. That's it. For example, if this is a number, you want to provide this as a string, dot to string, something like this. You provide. But don't forget to provide a key. Okay, that's all, guys. Everyone understood? List. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then. Yeah, thank you. I'm dropping off. Thank you. If you have any questions, ping me in the group or ping me personally in WhatsApp. I'll message you. Okay. Naresh, tell me, Naresh. What is the doubt, Naresh? Naresh, what is the doubt?
Hello, Ram.
Yes, Naresh, tell me.
Yeah, once go to the code.
Okay. Hmm.
Hello. Yes, Ram.
Yes, yes.
Uh, we have write the map arrow function, right? 25th
Correct.
line.
What?
Why should 25th line, Ram?
Okay.
Uh, we can remove that return also. It will be work.
Yeah, it will work. It will work. See, I already told you the arrow function syntax. See, you are explicitly adding the return here, right? If you don't want to use return, I think this is confusing. See, why, when you will write return, for example, you have something here, you have more like two lines, let x is equal to 10, 20. Like this also you have, if you have lot of lines, lot of statements, if you have lot of statements, then definitely you should return. If you have only one thing to return, then you need not to return. Okay. Like, for example, I think here we have two statements, right? One statement, currently this is not necessary, but I'm just adding. Let's take in real world, when you write code, you will get four to five statements, for example, and the last statement is return statement. If you have only one return statements, you can omit this. Okay. You can remove this return. See, now I am removing this. Okay. This, you have to remove the curly brackets. You have to remove the return. Here also you have to remove the curly bracket, and you should wrap this entire whatever you wanted to return, you should wrap that inside parenthesis like this. Okay, you got my point. So here this is map function argument. So how you are passing, this is arrow function, one line arrow function. If you don't want that return and that you are confusing, right, then you don't use that return statement and curly brackets. You directly add, wrap this parenthesis with that whatever you wanted to return. This is called implicit return inside arrow function. Okay. But if you have more lines, how you will return? For example, here you want to perform like let x is equal to 20 and you wanted to show that 20 every time here, like this. Would you be able to do this? No, right? So if you have multiple lines, then again you have to remove this and you take one thing like this. Okay. Curly bracket again, and you write that, and you paste this entire return and return like this. So if you have multiple lines, then definitely you have to use curly brackets. If you have only one return statement, no other lines, you can directly wrap that return with the curly bracket. Understood?
Yeah. Yes, Ram.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Ram.
Yeah. Anyone else? Doubts? Ask, guys. If you ask, then only I will know that you did not understand, and I can re-explain again and again. How many times you want, I'll explain. Okay, no issues, right? No doubts, guys. Okay. Thank you, guys. I'll take it as a no. If something is there, please let me know. Bye.